40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio, download the app so you don't miss out what's poppin' crackers shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all, a lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
So my doctor told me to go online to check my test results, but I didn't know how to do that. Thankfully, I could turn a link to Care WA for help. With Link to Care WA, I was able to learn how to use online health portals, use telehealth to talk to my doctor virtually, and manage my prescriptions online. I called the hotline and spoke to a real person who taught me the skills I needed. Call Link to Care WA at 866-757-1832 or visit linktocarewa.org.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not shouting, "Badia" at city council meetings, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
March Madness is in full effect. This and more on LidLine Sports.
I'm muted too.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. I'm your host, Pep. My man O is here, and also in the building, my man MC Michael Carter. What's happening? You got the Treacherous 3 in effect, in the fastest hour of sports in
MC. What's up, Otis?
What's good, MC?
Stop scooching. All right, getting all happy over here, you guys. Hugging and kissing over
That's
here.
my guy, man.
It's our guy.
It's always a good day when MC's in the building, man. It's always
man, you guys.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Hey, I'll just head on out the door. Then y'all don't need me.
I missed you too, Pep. I missed you too.
Okay, sure. Oh, it's good to see you guys and hear from you. Man, a lot of stuff going on. March Madness is in full effect, as I said on the open. Right now, I want to talk about real quick. Major League Baseball starts this week officially, but actually the Major League season started last week in Japan as the Dodgers and the Cubs met in Tokyo for a quick 2-game set. And then the Dodgers actually swept the Cubs 2 straight. So the Dodgers are 2-0 to start the season, and the Cubs are 0-2. Everybody else starts on this Thursday, and your beloved Seattle Mariners take on the Athletics of Sacramento, I guess. something like that. Anyway,
what are they going to be called? Are they going to be called the Sacramento A's, the Oakland A's, or
no,
the
just the A's, Athletics,
just
whatever.
A's?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's what they're going to be called. So, and of course, we announced last week that Logan Gilbert will be the opening day starter. So hopefully he will get things rolling right off the bat. Guys, what are your projections, your feelings, your thoughts on the upcoming season for the Seattle Mariners? Oh, what do you say? Shaking that noggin. What's up? What's that mean?
I mean, the last 2 years, man, this has been, it's just been a sour topic between us. And it honestly made this offseason go by much shorter because I felt like we were just hooping and hollering about the Mariners just 2 days ago. So here we are back again. The Mariners are touted as possibly being a top 10 team all of baseball, touted as the best rotation in all of baseball. Didn't get any bats this offseason. So we're here stuck again. I feel like we're reading the same book, Pep. So I won't be surprised if we don't make the playoffs. I won't be surprised even if we do, though.
Playoffs?
Yeah. I do think pitching will be really well.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
I'm glad to see Logan being the ace. I think that was the right choice. If not him, I was cool with Kirby too. It's time to put the ball in those guys' hands. Castillo kind of took a step back last year, while George Corbin did kind of too. But Logan Gilbert has been the most consistent pitcher over the last 3 years. And like I said, I was fine with him or Kirby being the day one starter, but we know George Kirby won't be ready to start this regular season.
Right.
He won't be the first three games. I am surprised, I guess, not Bryce Miller, but who's the other young pitcher?
Emerson Hancock?
No, not Emerson, the one who played really well. I'm surprised that he wasn't in one of the – I don't know. I'm surprised that he's close to last. But I guess if that's working for him, I'm not mad at not fixing that either or not changing anything with that. But we know he was probably the best fifth pitcher in all of baseball last year. So, man, we're going to see a bunch of low-scoring games, a bunch of snoozers, a bunch of 2-1 losses. I'm just hoping that, they don't put themselves behind the shovel and have to dig themselves out to try to make a playoff spot. This is now a year where the AL West is, in my opinion, is more wide open than it ever has been. And the Mariners, in my opinion, on paper, are the best team in the AL West. So, I mean, for me, shoot high as they win the AL West finally, and they go as far as they can in the playoffs. Shoot low is we don't make a move at the All-Star break if we need to, and we just cruise to a little bit over 500, and we'll be right back here saying the same stuff that we've been complaining about all season. So that's where I'm at.
Oh man, I'm glad you went with Otis first because I didn't want to be Debbie Downer. The Mariners are who we think they are, and there's not going to be any changes. Pitching seems like it might be, pretty good. But will the bats light up? I don't see it. Did they pick up any big bats? It's the same old, and I hate to see it. I agree with Otis on one thing. I think they are the best in the West, in the AL West, but it means you got to compete with Texas and Houston. We know A's aren't going to probably do too much, and LA, we'll see. But I just don't have no hope. I've given up on them 5 years ago. I tried hard, and I'm the first to eat crow if they do good, but I don't think I'll be eating any crow. I'll be eating a lot of chicken.
That's fair.
I just don't see. I just don't see nothing.
Right.
I don't see nothing to get excited about. We'll see.
Well, it's hard to be optimistic, with the Mariners because they do the same thing over and over, all the time. So I'm going to try and give some light at the end of the tunnel on this one. I'm going to try.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Matt Brash is back, and he pitched today, and he was lights out. So that's a good sign. And of course, Greg Santos should be back. The bullpen should be much better than it was last season. I think the bats will do better. I think Robles is comfortable at the leadoff spot. I like him at the leadoff spot, and I think that he'll get it going. I think JP will have a comeback with his bat, especially he in the batting order where he fits best. I think second will be good for him, or either second or down at ninth is fine, because when you could set the table still when you're ninth as far as the next couple of innings when you come up, because a lot of times the ninth hitter can lead off an inning, and he can set the table. Or if they put him at the 2 spot, I'm fine with that because I don't like Julio at the 2 spot at all.
Really?
I think I don't. I like him better if he's 3rd or 5th And specifically, I would put him at third for right now. And then, and of course, I would have Cal cleaning up. And then I would have Polanco batting fifth, and so on and so forth. And I think Polanco will have a much better year because he was hurt last year. I think the bats will do much better this year. I can't see that.
Let's put a wager on it.
No, but I can't see that they're going to continue to struggle like they have been.
It could be a small wager, like a
no.
Look, I kind of agree with you in that sense of I do think the bats will look better. I think, just like you said, there's fluidity now. A lot of those guys that was picked up are halfway through the season. I think they'll be comfortable now. I think there will be a set order that guys can be comfortable in their place. I do think Julio will be hitting second. It looks like Rosarena has been doing a lot of cleanup. And then the catcher has been, I can't think of his name. I'm just trying to blank now. Cal Raleigh has been hitting third. And Robles is first. Yeah, so I like the first four. It's just after that. It's the depth that comes behind.
Yeah, you know what? I want to change that. I think I forgot about Rosarena. I forgot all about him. I would have him fifth instead of Polanco, and I'd have Polanco sixth in the lineup. Okay. Yeah, but I would have Julio third. I would not put him at number 2. No way.
I bet you they're not thinking the way you're thinking, though.
No.
Watch it be all crazy from what you just said. The lineup, how the batting order, it'll be totally, and they'll be guessing and plugging and.
Yeah.
And I like Ryan Bliss at second base over Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore is a good utility guy, but he's not an everyday guy. Right, if you're depending on Dylan Moore to be every day, then you're in trouble. Or you need to find a second baseman.
They just can't lose games at home and then blame it on the whatever reason.
Right.
If other teams can come in here and bat and win games at the Mariners' home field. What is it now? Lumen.
Right. T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Yeah, not football, but. If they can do it, then why can't the Mariners do it? I'm tired of it. I'm hoping for the best because Ager's still the batting coach, right?
Yes.
And he's a great if anybody knows how to bat, it's him. So hopefully they'll listen to him and follow him. And I just don't have faith in the upper management though. And who's the manager? I mean, who's the the manager, right? DePoto, right?
Dan Wilson.
No, the GM is Justin Hollander.
Right.
DePoto is the president of baseball operations.
So DePoto got okay. And Cervasis is gone, right?
Thank God.
Right.
But I like Dan Wilson. I do
like Dan Wilson.
Yeah.
Dan Wilson is great too.
And now over the weekend they did release Mitch Haniger, and there's people that are upset about that, but I think it's a great move.
Time to go.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're still paying him $15 million, folks. He's not starving. Okay, baseball is different from football, and they don't have a salary cap. They have the best union in all of sports, and so if you get cut, you get paid.
Right.
So they're still going to pay him. And then I've heard some talk. Well, he's injured as usual. Why don't they just put him on the 60-day DL? Look, we already know what and who he is. He's been here twice.
Right.
All right. Dude, cut your losses. I don't even know why they brought him back the second time last year. I was like, what do you bring him back for? You got rid of him for a reason.
Right.
What did he do when you got rid of him? He went to San Francisco and promptly got hurt.
You can ask the Steelers that same question.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah.
I just thought Andy.
You know what? Also, too, Pep, this is the first time the A's actually spent some money in the offseason. So I'm not going to be surprised also, too, if they compete with the Mariners in this first series. I don't know if it's just going to be a sweep. I'm actually expecting for the A's to try to make some noise going into Las Vegas these next couple of years. They're going to try to win some games next couple of years.
That's a great point.
We talked about the A's last year, if you remember. I like their lineup. I like JJ Bleday. I like Lawrence Butler. They've got players that I really like, and I wish that we could have picked up,
right?
For the lineup. So, they're going to be tough, but our pitching staff, Gilbert, look, if he's on his groove, we should be able to handle him. There's no excuses.
keep using that if, man.
There's none. But listen, last year to me was the year they should have taken care of business,
Right.
and they didn't do it.
Right.
This year, everybody's saying, well, the AL West is wide open. But I think Texas is going to be trouble because they got guys coming back from injury. They got pitching. They got DeGrom. They got good starting pitching, and you still got Simeon and Corey Seager and guys like that, and they're going to be trouble.
Right.
And of course, the Astros are a little different. They don't have Kyle Tucker anymore. He's with the Cubs, and so they've got their little issues going. But I think the Astros will still be right there. So I think Texas will be one. Astros 2, and the fight is for third place between the A's and the Mariners. The Angels are just awful. If we can't beat them, and we didn't last year, that's the problem. We couldn't beat them last year. We went, LA handed it to us, but they couldn't beat anybody else, so they were in last place. Go figure. Listen, if there's more of the same of that, then the Mariners will be in fourth because I think the A's are ready to come up.
What's the old saying? Fool me once.
Exactly.
Fool me twice. Fool me 3 times.
But listen,
the Mariners will not fool me no more.
Right.
Until they show me anything different.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying what I'm going to say.
Yeah. And rightfully so. But I'm just trying to, I
hope they do good because they're my home team. I mean, this is my hometown. But hope and reality sometimes is
wishing one hand, poop in the other, and see which one fills up first.
That's it.
Yeah.
We already know.
I mean, that's where the frustration comes from all three of us. Is we want them to win, and they are more than capable with winning.
Well,
so
here's the problem: it's 22 out of the last 23 years they haven't made the playoffs. That's the problem.
Right.
That's the frustration.
Right.
If you make the playoffs every 3-4 years, or at least 2 or 3 years in a row, and you still lose, that's frustrating. But it's palatable. You can handle that.
Right.
But when you're losing and out of the playoffs and out, by the time May comes around, you're already shaking your head. That's the frustration, and that's the problem.
Right.
And the management doesn't seem to care.
No. As long as people keep going to the
that's
games.
the real problem.
Exactly.
No heckling and
ownership doesn't care. Ownership has fannies in the seats. Concessions are selling out food and whatever, and beer, and
they're just
whatever.
there to see a game and not really, they're wearing rose-colored glasses. Whereas true fans, we want a product.
Yes,
we're tired of seeing the mediocre.
I seen they rolled out this new extensive, nice, new menu of food. That's
every team's doing that.
Seattle, I know, but it's just so funny, like. With the Mariners, how they can just put so much into everything but this roster, man. Exactly. I just find it fun. I know every team does it though. I know.
Yes. I saw the White Sox menu. I was like, man, I need to go to a White Sox game. Yeah. But anyway, what's going on in the NBA, bro? What's been happening? Because I haven't really been checking out too much.
Yeah.
Except that I know that Cleveland was slumping for a while and they finally got off the schneid last night. So what's been going on?
Mostly a lot of teams right now are, you see a lot of teams kind of taking their foot off the gas, or a lot of teams are getting in desperation mode. You see a lot of that over in the Western Conference. Which I feel like I said this the last few weeks ago, the East is pretty much set. It's the West that is just movement every other day that we look at this standings. But outside of the Thunder, who is already set for first place.
Now they've overtaken Cleveland for the number one spot in the NBA.
Yeah.
Record-wise.
Yeah. And they're doing this all without, Jalen Williams has been out. Shea has been in and out the lineup. There's depth for them. And yeah, Chet's been in and out the lineup. He's missed a big chunk of the season. No team, as much as everyone wants to say because of their youth and, their inexperience, they say they may want that matchup. Nobody wants to play in OKC, have to go to OKC and play these guys for 7 games. Nobody wants to say it. Nobody wants to say that all they want. But everybody else is fair game and food. The Rockets, I have many questions about them, who's the number one option when it comes down to who can they give the ball to? Jalen Green's is inconsistent. Sengun, I don't know if he's necessarily that guy. And then Fred VanVleet I don't know if he's that guy either.
He had 37 the other night.
Yes, he did. Yes, the Nuggets.
What's going on with Tari Eason? Because I talked about him a week or two ago. He had 30, 21. Now all of a sudden I'm looking at this box score. He's playing 15 minutes and he got 4 points. I mean, what's going on?
I just think there's just so many different moving bodies over there going on. I know he's been in and out the starting lineup. I think that he is going to be somebody. I'm moving down the road a little bit. He's not. I don't know if he's going to be with this team this offseason. You know, I'm hearing that the Rockets are looking for a big name. He's going to be somebody that a lot of general managers will want if the Rockets are trying to go after names, and very rightfully so. What was that?
The trade piece?
Yes, but it's a good thing though for him. I think the Rockets should be having him a part of their core nucleus, but it's more so since they got Dylan Brooks and Amen Thompson has came out really well in his rookie season. I just think that they're rather build around those guys, and Tari seems more of the piece that they can maybe use as a trade chip. And like I said, for me, that's okay because one name that they're talking about going to get is Kevin Durant. If you want to give me Tari and another player and some picks, I will take that. I like Tari's game, just like I know you do. He is just a beast on both sides of the court. And I think that they should want to hold on to him as long as possible. But it doesn't seem like, I don't think he'll be there for next season.
Okay.
I don't know why. But the teams out of the West that,
here's what will tell you that. Here's what will tell you that playoff time. What kind of minutes he gets?
Yep.
Or doesn't get.
And I think
he doesn't get many minutes playoff time.
Trade.
Yep. Here we go. Next year he won't.
And I think for a lot of teams, especially on the West Coast and the West Conference side, a lot is going to say how they move within their offseason. Or if they lose too early, like if Memphis loses too early again, let's say OKC doesn't get to the conference finals or loses in the conference finals, or Houston loses in the first round. Those teams are going to start getting a little desperate to find a piece to get over the hump. So those guys are really going to come into – I think that was a big reason why Houston said we're going to hold off this trade season for the trade deadline. We're going to see what this group can do come playoffs. Same with Memphis. Like I said, those young teams, they're going to see if their nucleuses can get them over the hump. But if they lose early, those guys are going to be real aggressive this offseason. The Lakers are somebody right now who is now – they were having their fun when Luka got there. Then LeBron got hurt. Now they're starting to falter. They was at the 2 seed. Now they're in the 4 seed. They just lost again today to the Orlando Magic. They lost to the Bulls.
I checked out Paulo. He had 18 when I checked. I don't know what he ended up
30.
with. But.
Ended up with 30 plus. Played really well. I was watching a little bit of that game.
And then they lost. They lost to Chicago, 146 to 115 at home. I mean, what are you doing?
This was a team who was playing really good defense when they got Luka. So you want to start to ramp up and play your best basketball now over these next 2 weeks. So that's something that the Lakers are definitely going to hopefully get right. And then you got the Suns, the Kings, and the Dallas Mavericks, who just got Anthony Davis back today. Those guys are all fighting for 9.
And they were
10,
winning last time I checked.
Yeah, they won. So this is updated. The Suns are technically in 11th place right now. They're playing the Bucks. They're down by 5. But that's something. The Suns are, I will say, my team is playing.
Phoenix Bums.
What was that?
I said the Phoenix Bums.
Hey, Pep, we're playing a little better. We're playing a little better basketball right now.
Okay. I text Pepe a lot and I said, man, please don't tell Otis what I'm about to say. And I let him have it. And then he's like, man, they're bums. I said, don't tell Otis. I said,
no. It's been a really tough season for me. I have no expectations, MC. Like I said, even if the Suns make the plan, I don't know if they can win 2 games and make it to the playoffs. If they do, they still got a date with OKC, and I don't see us beating OKC. So for me, this season is a flush regardless. Every other Suns fan can go and thinking, well, let's just make the most of this I just watched this team, make the finals 3 years ago and just see it just takes step after step backwards for the last 3 years. I'm disgusted.
Is it the ownership or is it coaching or is it mixture? What is it?
It's mostly I definitely thought ownership number one. New ownership.
Ownership because they're the ones that get the players.
I'm asking his sister.
I understand that, but I just had to chime in because to me, the GM, these GMs today, and I said this repeatedly, that these GMs that we're seeing in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball, the dumbest group of GMs I've ever seen in sports. I mean, they are all just doofuses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's bring in Bradley Beal, a guy who barely plays half the time, but let's just bring him in to mix with KD and
sprinkle some magic dust on.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
and
better.
Devin Booker.
Even worse though, Pep.
They're getting what they deserve.
Even worse though is the money that he makes and the no trade clause connected to it.
Yes.
Forget how many games he plays and all that. You can't move him. And it costs you getting Jimmy Butler because you can't move him. So that's what makes it even worse. Just like we said earlier, it's the owners you know what I think it is right now, though, Pep? GMs have been, I think goes back to the Dallas Cowboys. GMs are so much, and presidents of operations are so much pawns nowadays, unless they are really close with ownership. Ownership is making a lot of decisions nowadays in pro sports. There are a lot more hands-on than I feel like they ever were. So it's the ownership who came in and traded everything to go get KD. It was ownership who came in and pushed to probably go get Brad Beal. James Jones, for the general manager for the Suns, he's just a pawn at this point, and I do believe he probably will be let go in this offseason. But I thought he did a really good job making the moves he made with the past owner. I just think the owners are –
To your point, though, I think you're spot on to your point because, I'm going to give you this analogy and you tell me if you feel any different. Ownership, if you've been watching lately, no matter what sport it is, but mainly basketball we're talking about now, is that you'll have a coach that will take a team to the playoffs and then the next season he's gone. We have not seen that precedent in many years where if a coach is doing good and the team is getting to the playoffs, they give him chance after chance after chance. But we've seen over and over and over again where teams have had good coaches take the teams to the playoffs, and the next season, before the season starts, all of a sudden he's fired.
Well, we saw a coach get fired 30 games over 500 in the middle of the season last year.
My point. That's where the ownership is.
That's ownership.
Yes. They got too much in the pot.
Hold those thoughts, guys. So we'll get right back to that right after this.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not meeting Mrs. Jones in that cafe for a chat and nothing else, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
A new law is helping people save more money on prescription drug costs. You may also be able to save with Medicare's Extra Help program. Your premium cost can be zero and your out-of-pocket expenses are low. Who should apply? Single individuals earning less than $23,000 a year or married couples earning less than $31,000 a year. Even if you don't think you qualify, you should still check out this program. Visit ssa.gov/extra help. Medicare costs are covered by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children, youth, and families of the Seattle-King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth with services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African-American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo, and your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Come join the Women in Business Expo Group annual leadership luncheon, April 5th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., where this year our theme is uplifting our next generation. Our amazing keynote speaker will be the one and only Robert Spider Gaines, CEO and co-founder of RSG Foundation. For more information and details, visit wibegluncheon2025.eventbrite.com. Again, that's wibegluncheon2025.eventbrite.com. See y'all there.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Welcome back, everybody, to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. I want to do some quick shout-outs real quick. Bill Walker Jr., Rhonda Dorsey, Nancy Conyers, David Williams. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I got some sad news, unfortunately. We found out this morning that Rainier Avenue Radio's own Cindy Bright passed away. She hosted Heartbeat Radio and was a pillar in a community and on this radio station. And I know that for myself and Michael Carter and O and Daniel, we are very saddened and send our condolences to her family. Her son, Aaron Bright, he was a basketball player here from Bellevue. He went to Bellevue High School. He played at Stanford. So he, feel bad for him and the rest of his loved ones and friends. So shout out to them and rest in heaven, Cindy Bright. So we were talking about the NBA and what was happening. With the Suns and man, I tell you, yeah, we were talking about the GMs and the ownership, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm old, but I am forgetting. I haven't lost everything. It's only 3 minutes ago, but hey.
Yeah. No, I think you guys all made really good points on that. But I do think it's a trend that we'll keep continuing to see. I don't know if it's, owners now, being more competitive than ever than trying to win. And, a lot of them thinking they know what it takes from a front office standpoint. It's two totally different boxes you're checking off, just being the owner and somebody who's building a team. So, it works for some it goes to crap like the Phoenix Suns. So, like I said, I think it's a trend that's going to continue to grow, honestly. I don't like it, though, at all. I think everybody needs to kind of do their job.
If you guys remember, around the end of tournament time after Dan Hurley won the championship, then, of course, rumors swirled that he was going to leave and go here, there. And then, of course, the Lakers offered him $70 million, and he turned it down. And, if I'm a sought after GM nowadays, I'm going to say, look, if you guys want me, I ain't worried about, it's not so much the money I'm worrying about. I'm worried about my autonomy. I want to be the one to make the decisions on who we're going to bring in. I'll consult, of course, with ownership, but I want to have ownership always has the last say so, but I want to have the almost last say. I mean, I gotta have serious say so on who comes and goes and whatnot, because I'm not coming in playing puppet master. You're not going to be using me just as a figurehead for personnel decisions and whatnot. If you want me to be a part of this organization, and I think a lot of these GMs nowadays don't have that backbone, and of course, a lot of them haven't earned it. You know, a lot of times you got to earn that, right? Like Pat Riley, anywhere he goes, he's got that, right? Like if Phil Jackson were to come back, Greg Popovich, names like that. Those guys,
Eric with the Heat.
Spoelstra. If he decides he wants to go somewhere else, you know, these guys got panache, carte blanche, whatever you want to call it. They can do and say whatever they want, right? And they can have.
I think we can tell Steve Kerr in there too.
You can tell them no, and they'll say, "Okay, I'm out."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they'll be cool.
But back when the coaches had way more control and way more input, teams were a lot better. You didn't see all this diva. You didn't see all this divish, and you always got to have. You're always going to have a player who.
Well, it's going to get worse.
I know, but you always back in the day, or not too long ago, they had players who were superstars, but they knew their role, and they let the coach the team, and they gave their input when needed. Now you got coaches that are scared to do whatever because they know the GM's riding their back, and they got this superstar player over here who's chirping to the owner and saying, well, you know, if you don't do this and do that, I'm out and this and that. And it's putting heat on the coaches, and it's just making turbulence inside the organization.
Well, we got high school players coming to school in Bentleys and Ferraris now.
Yeah. True.
Okay, and they've got deals automatic.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they get a deal.
Right.
Well, you know, it's going to get worse.
It is.
Before it gets better, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we got.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just saying, 3 weeks left in the NBA. Playoffs is here. I was ready to wrap it up too, Pep.
Oh, okay.
Talk about the good stuff.
Yes, March Madness is upon us, and we had a pretty good weekend, wouldn't you say?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I didn't. You guys did. I didn't.
Why not?
Oh, my bracket was atrocious.
Busted up?
All over
Busted
the place.
up? Oh.
Bro, I don't even do brackets. I just watch.
My brackets are good. I got Florida and Houston in the finals, and so now I'm riding pretty high. And I knew Gonzaga would get bounced, and I picked St. John's to get bounced, or St. Mary's, is it? That got bounced. I did some pretty good picks. The only one that blew through me for a loop was Clemson. That's the only one.
Well, that was the first one.
I know.
they tore up millions of brackets right there.
Day one.
Yeah, I was with you.
When they won the first
Clemson.
games, the first hour, you're out.
Yeah.
And I watched Clemson a few times this year, so I was with you. I thought that they would perform really well in the NCAA tournament, and that went right out the window game one. One thing that has surprised me in the NCAA tournament, I thought the Big Ten wasn't that good this season, and they got 3 teams in the Sweet 16, so they shut me up. Michigan looked really good. Maryland won on a buzzer beater yesterday by Derek.
Got a question about that one.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that, and then. Purdue, who looks really good. We're talking about a team who just made it to the national championship. They look like that they are going to make a really strong one. They do have Houston in the Sweet 16, but I think they're going to make a really good run. I'm going to go. Personally, I have a good friend who coaches for Texas Tech, so I'm gonna rock with them. But BYU is a team that looks really, really good.
Yeah, they gave Wisconsin what for?
Yep. You're talking about a team when this is the time where you want to be able to make shots. BYU's doing that. The only problem is they have Duke on their side if they get past Arizona. But I'm really liking what BYU is doing over there.
Yeah.
They play Alabama next.
Who?
Yes.
BYU.
Yes. BYU plays Alabama next.
That's gonna be a game.
Yeah. Alabama better be ready. I'll tell you that right now, because if they don't come in, you can FAFO if you want to, but but shoot,
I like Texas Tech too. I like them from the beginning. I was almost
who they beat. They blew out somebody.
They beat. They blew out their first matchup, which a lot of. I forget.
I could tell you, Texas Tech beat Drake.
Wilmington.
Oh, that's
beat Drake.
Yeah, Drake. Yeah,
Drake. A lot of people thought after how Drake did against Missouri, they thought that there was possible upset against Texas Tech.
They did.
Tech held their own, and they ended up, they ended up extending that lead.
They got Kendrick.
Did you see UConn's coach Hurley when he was leaving the game and how he's pouting and yelling at that little? It's like, dude, you got beat. Just go off the court.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got beat.
I'm so disappointed in his attitude this season. I've never seen a coach go from just being this coach that everybody loved, wanted to resemble a coach you wanted to play for, to just turn it around and just being a villain in a year. And it's like it's almost like he was asking for that title because, yeah, you already have a target on your back because you won 2 in a row.
Right.
Now you're getting cocky and you're just calling out your players every chance you get. You're not taking no credibility for losing. And I've never went from liking a coach to not liking coach in only a season. I can tell you right now, guys, I don't care for Dan Hurley and how he acted this year.
Arrogance.
I never, as much as, when they did win the first game, I didn't want them to, but it kind of just showed, who Dan Hurley still is as a coach, X's and O's, still a very good coach. They were right there with Florida. Florida just kind of just wanted close. They took it over close to the end of the game. They played really well. But then they go into the locker room and said, I hope you guys don't get expletive like we did. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
You did not really just say you lost the game because of refs.
Exactly.
In the tournament.
Exactly. Come on. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he gets it honestly. I mean, his dad was, kind of like that, arrogant.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was a perennial high school powerhouse at St. Anthony. And I actually, but the thing is, I actually had a conversation with him before because we sat next to each other at a high school game years ago. He had came down to our town to scout one of our players in high school. And so we talked, and, I really got to see the real inside personal, how he was. And I really enjoyed our conversation. He was really cool. So, I feel that the persona you may see in public isn't the same in private. There's only a few that are actually the same. And I'll give you an example. Montel Williams, if you guys remember him, talk show host. Well, I was good friends with him back in the day. I used to go to his house and watch boxing and all that stuff and hang out with him. And he's the same guy that you saw on TV as he was at the house. That dude asked me a million questions all the time. It's like, dude, I'm trying to watch the fight, and he's giving me interviews, It's like, so when he became a talk show host, I wasn't surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, it figures, So it was just funny to me. So man,
you know who that reminds me of?
What's that?
Balmer,
Steve Ballmer.
I sat.
Oh yeah,
my nephew used to coach for Lakeside, and his son played for Lakeside, so. There was games where he would recognize me and come sit with me, and we have these conversations. Right. And he's a down to earth guy, and you can tell that he's the same way with his organization, and that's why he's so successful. He's no, how should you say it when you don't take any stuff?
No nonsense.
But he's down to earth, and he's really cool. He didn't. Being a billionaire or multimillionaire billionaire. He still was given.
Don't call him multimillionaire; he'll start crying.
Multi-billionaire.
But he gave me some tips, and he was talking to me just like I was his buddy. So it was really. I see what you're saying. But things can change if you. You get up there and get that little winning, and you get that prestige, and then you get you're in the media a lot, and that's what I think got to Hurley. I think he's just been in the media. He's been on that hype ride for so long, and then when it ggets snatched from you like that, you're not going to look at yourself in the mirror. You're going to start pointing fingers and saying things and I think eventually he'll regret what he said because it's in the heat of the battle. But let's just hope. Because I liked him too. I was like Otis. I liked him too, but to see him in that demeanor, I was like,
right.
It's not a good look.
It's just over and over and over again. It's not like this was one instance. Like, I get it when you're frustrated early on when you guys went down to the Maui tournament, didn't play well. I can understand frustration. but it kept going over as the season kept going on, and it showed in wins and losses, and they ended up with a 9 seed. So that was my thing.
Right.
I know you wanted to ask. So the Maryland versus
Colorado State.
Maryland.
One of the best games, the best nail biter probably in the whole weekend, and it happened to be played here in the Pacific Northwest.
And the bank was open.
Yes. So yeah, and as a matter of, it's so funny because you know how sometimes when you're watching something and you could see it before it actually happens, and I saw that when he made that move, I said, "Oh, here we go! I can see it." And when he put it up, I said, "That's money,
game winner."
Yeah. And then now the first thing I thought when I saw it live is I think he walked. I didn't say he traveled. I said in my head, I said, "Oh, I said he traveled." I think I shouted it. But in my head, I was thinking, I think he walked. Yeah. And then but the thing is, there was the refs automatically said it was good. They were walking off the court. And I'm like, oh, it's good. And then I saw a replay. The first replay I saw, I said, yeah, I think he walked. And then I watched it again, and I was like, oh, no, he gathered, then took a step. No, it's good.
Yeah.
So I changed my mind after I saw the replay about 15 times.
It looked like a mini Euro.
The thing, though, Pep. So yes, in the NBA, you get that gather step.
Yeah.
In college, you don't get that gather step.
Well, you get it. You get it in that instance.
Yes, and that's what my thing. Oh, in that predicament right there, that's so tough to call. Like
you're not.
It wasn't. I don't think it was like the trouble in the sense of like he created an unfair advantage or anything like that.
Oh, because the defender was right there.
Exactly.
He was there. He just made a great shot.
95 out of 100 referees are not making that call. They're just not. That was a good move. And like I said, I'm glad that a ref didn't have the cojones to make that call. Now,
not for a game winner.
Heck no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To change the outlook of the game, like I said, of something so small of a call. That would have just
you can't lose on a question.
Game. Right. If that was before the half, then you could see maybe them calling it. But for a game winner, no, you got to. It was like you said, it didn't impede on anybody. He didn't push off.
Nope.
It was just a minor infraction if there was one, because we can go debate if we can say there was and there wasn't.
Absolutely.
And it's what the refs see. I'll say something that Charles Barkley said recently. Charles Barkley said this. The game has changed so much where we got in the heat of the battle in the NFL, the NBA or whatever. If the refs are watching it live real time.
Yeah.
And so even in high school, they're watching it real time. And so, of course, if we fans sitting in the stadiums or watching it on TV, we get to see the replay. We get to see it in high def. We get to see it slow motion. So we see what they don't see. And, they go to the monitor sometimes.
Right.
And sometimes they override, and sometimes they're just going to stick to their guns. But come on, the refs, 85% of the time, they're right.
Well, you know what? Refs have to be perfect. Anything other than perfect is unacceptable. And that's the life of a referee, umpire, whatever, unfortunately. But these guys are outstanding.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
Look, 99.9% of them are outstanding.
Right.
So this was the first time in I forget how many years that no seed lower than 10 made it to the or higher than 10 made it to the Sweet 16. So the higher seeds were doing their job.
Right.
And I think so. The most funnest matchup for me, guys. So I love seeing like these HBCUs getting on national TV and getting the the notoriety that I do think they deserve. I loved watching Alabama State give everything Auburn had in the first round. I don't know if you guys got to watch that game.
I watched it.
Yep.
That game came down to pretty much the last 4 minutes of that game, and I was hoping that Alabama State was able to pull that upset. I knew in the back of my head they probably weren't. But to see how they fought for 35 minutes, man, that was so dope to see.
That was a true battle. It was a true battle.
Yeah. So I wanted to definitely pinpoint Alabama State, and I know there's no participation awards, but to take who I think Auburn's #1 overall seed. Auburn has been pretty much the #1 team, the overall favorite to win this national championship the last 2-3 months.
Ooh, that Auburn-Michigan game is going to be fire.
It is. I'm still waiting for Auburn to put together a full game. I haven't seen it yet, and I think as Michigan's been playing, they can get them. Because Creighton was beating out Auburn too in the first half. So I'm going to be interested.
Hey, listen, Texas A&M was giving Michigan all kinds of problems until the first half. Yeah, so
that Kentucky-Tennessee game is going to be a good one too.
They played twice already, and Tennessee has beat them both times. But it is hard to beat a team three times.
Yes, sir.
Especially when you're evenly matched as you are.
And in the same season.
And Tennessee, Kentucky, they're bitter rivals as far as state's concerned.
Yes, sir.
So, that should be a really good.
The Sweet 16 in the whole is going to be good.
And then look, Kentucky's Mark Pope, coach for the Kentucky, is from Mercer Island. So, we have some little say in the tournament somewhat,
right?
Which is always a good thing. I always kind of root for the Pacific Northwest folks,
right?
So even though Gonzaga's gone, I
really don't root for them. But if they win, they win. But
I think it's cool. Coach Cal made it to the Sweet 16. I know it is about the players on the court, but a name like Coach John Calipari, him leaving Kentucky last year, taking on Arkansas. Didn't have the season that we wanted to have. It was really cool to watch John Calipari and Rick Pitino coach against each other, St. John's and Arkansas. That was a really good matchup.
I was rooting. These are two of the coaches I can't stand the most. They're greasy swine ball coaches.
Yeah, you don't know how much.
But I can't stand
for years.
Calipari. I can't stand Pitino. But in this instance, I was rooting for St. John's big time.
Okay. Oh yeah, I understand your ties with St. John's. So
but so St. John's kind of let me down. But Arkansas, it's tough. Texas Tech and Arkansas should be a nice one. I'm rooting for.
So
Texas
are you guys champions still remain the same?
Who did I say last week? Remember? Do you remember? Did I say Florida? Or Duke or
I said at the beginning of the show or earlier, I said I got Houston and Florida, I think, in the final. It's either Florida or Duke. I have either or in the final, but I have Houston winning it all. And I think it is Houston and Florida.
Well, Houston's going to have a tough time because they got to go to Indianapolis and play Purdue.
Yeah,
and that's going to be tough.
They're balling though.
It don't matter because it's going to be tough. Because Purdue, bro, they're going to be playing at home.
I know.
That's tough,
it's gonna
man.
Be tough,
it's tough to ask.
I think Houston's ready.
I hope so. I like Samson.
I had either Auburn or Florida. Whoever out of those two made it to the championship, I had them winning. But I can't keep denying how good Duke is. I tend to try to stray away from the teams that have a lot of freshmen. I know they also have upperclassmen too. But I try to stray away from the team when your best players are freshmen. But what Duke is doing, what Cooper Flagg and that whole team is doing, I actually really do think that they are going to, and it pains me to talk good about Duke, but I do think they are now the favorite to win the national championship.
I'm glad Carolina's gone. I couldn't stand them either. See ya.
I wanted to see Marquette go deeper, but because I like Shaka.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they got smoked.
Yeah.
Who's the team that people are very likely to think could make a run that is left that you guys think could possibly?
That will what?
Who's the sleeper team left?
Well, Ole Miss is tough.
Yes,
they got Michigan State. Texas Tech might surprise. So
Arizona might surprise.
Yeah, but I think let's see who they got. They got Duke next.
Yeah, they might surprise people.
Caleb Love he's familiar with Duke because he was at North Carolina to start his career. And then he took over last night against Oregon.
Oh, they were they were doing some monster plays.
They were down by like 15.
That's why I said Arizona might surprise people.
Well, my man Jackson Shelstad was giving it to him for a while, and then he cooled off. And then Caleb Lev said, "Okay, well, it's my turn."
My turn.
But they couldn't stop that one play. All he did was come around from the wing and get up to the top, and they couldn't stop it.
Yep.
They kept going underneath instead of going around with him. He's just leaving them wide open.
And if BYU gets by Alabama, they could be a shocker.
That's a good point.
Agree.
That's definitely a good
If
point.
they get by Alabama, if they could do that, then you know how that momentum, you ride that momentum,
Yeah.
you get that hype going, get into the elite.
They might be the true sleeper.
Right.
Yeah, I mean the sleeper of all sleepers.
Exactly.
That might be them.
That's why I just was looking. I was like, they
point.
Because when you said they beat VCU, right? They beat VCU earlier in the tournament.
Handily.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a shocker because VCU have been balling all year.
Right.
So when they did that, I was like, BYU's better than I thought they were.
We found out that Juju looks like she's got a knee injury. Unfortunately,
I haven't seen it, but I've been watching people.
Well, we got an update from Linda Thomas, said that it looks like she hurt her knee, so that's not a good thing. Especially having to be helped off the court and then go to the locker room. Unless she's going to do a Willis Reed in the second half or whatever.
They're blowing out Mississippi State.
Oh well, she ain't coming back then.
No,
that's
38-16 and.
Well,
5:04 in a second.
Oh, okay. Well,
I just seen the play. It doesn't look good because it's not really a contact injury as well. So yeah, she was down and she was in real pain.
Oh boy.
Let's hope it's not an ACL.
Yeah. That is
non-contact. That's usually the case.
Did you guys see that Jaden Daniels Juju thing where Jaden Daniels' mom came in the middle? Man, that's just silly.
She was C blocking.
I mean,
but
man.
The story, the context behind it, why it's so funny though, right?
Why? I mean, what was real quick?
Because I think Jaden Daniels' mom had came out and basically, I forget, there was like a little clip of her just basically talking about how she got her eye on her son when it comes to these girls.
I remember that. Yeah. But here's the thing, bro. Juju is her own star. She's not one of those.
Yeah, that's the type of woman a mom would have no
who
problem.
you're dealing with.
Right.
If she sees them talking, just leave it alone.
Right.
You don't need to go in the middle of that. No. Now, if he's with some big boob out woman that's in the crowd, then mom might need to block that.
The backlash from that, when your mom or your dad always try to push you away from somebody, you gravitate more to them.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But my thing though, that's the type of woman as a mom I would think you would want your son.
Thank you. That's the point.
Right.
She ain't no skeezer.
No.
I mean, she's a star in her own right. She don't need him.
Yeah, she got her own. Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, hey, on behalf of O and Mike and Daniel, thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back next week. Rest in peace, Cindy Bright. We love you.
Rest in peace.